Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Market Forecast, brought to you by Options University. This is Butch Shorek. It's Monday, April 7th, 2014, and the beginning of a new quarter. Access to this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this video, website, or promotional material constitutes a promotion, recommendation, solicitation, or offer of any particular investment, security, or transaction. Options University provides educational services that are meant to teach you the risks and rewards of trading stocks and options, and we're not a service that tells you what to trade. We're not implying or guaranteeing any profit. And as always, do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Looking at the market as last week, that went absolutely nowhere. Let's see exactly what we've got coming in the coming week. Looking at Monday, April 7th, we have nothing happening as far as economic announcements. Zero. Looking at Tuesday, we see that there's very little happening as far as economic announcements. Looking at Wednesday, we have basically nothing happening except for the FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock, which basically have not provided a whole lot of information for us to get any kind of moves out of the market whatsoever. Looking at Thursday, April 10th, jobless claims, which take place weekly, will be coming out at 8:30. Import and export prices will come out at 8:30. So Thursday will be the first day of the week that will have any consequence with economic announcements. And then finally on Friday, April 11th, 9:55 a.m. comes consumer sentiment. So we're basically looking at a week that really doesn't have a whole lot going on as we enter into the weakest 6 months of the market. And that's exactly what we saw when we looked at the market this last week. We saw that it went absolutely nowhere. Notice we did get a new high. We still are on an uptrend. The 30 is above the 50-day moving average, which is above the 200-day moving average. We're still looking for some kind of pullback that'll take place before the summer, probably a little early in the month of April. Look at it, but look at what happened. We got a new high this week. In fact, let's take a look at the next chart and see that in a little more detail. The minute we get a new high in the market, look at this thing pull back on Friday, but led by the NASDAQ, we see that we pulled all the way back to that 30-day moving average, which could act as support. Personally expect it to pull back a bit further. As we look at Monday morning, we see the futures are down a bit as the market is in pre-opening. Futures down, S&P futures down around 7 this morning. And of course that can fluctuate between now and opening, but nonetheless we're seeing some weakness in the market, looking for a bit of a pullback. Looking at the Dow, did the Dow follow the same kind of trend? Well, let's look at the Dow and see that the Dow has not yet hit the 30-day moving average. When we look at the SPX, it's sitting right on that 30-day moving average, which is where it closed. Dow showing a little relative strength, have not reached the 30-day moving average, but again had the big pullback on Friday as we saw things pull back after hitting a new highs very near the opening on Friday morning. Looking at the Russell 2000, we see basically sitting at some kind of support there, and we'll see if that keeps going down lower. Looking for some of these market leaders that have been leading since the first of the year to pull back to that 200-day moving average. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but it certainly is something we expect in the next month or two. Looking at the VIX, we see the VIX pulling very little move on it, even in spite of the big change in the market on Friday. We see a little pop up in the VIX to 14, but still no great fear in the market as we look at this contrarian indicator. Now let's take a look and see what some of our other sectors did. As we look at the bonds, we're going to look at the 20-year bond with TLT, which is our ETF for 20-year Treasury bonds. And we see that we're beginning to show a little more strength, popped through some previous resistance earlier in last month, and we see that we're heading back up for those as the bond, a little more interest in a flight to bonds as some of that money and some of those profits are being pulled out of the market little by little. Looking at the gold, let's take a look at the flight for safety. Are we seeing any big move there? Well, we're certainly higher than we were in January, but still not showing us any great flight to safety. Notice that this is a higher low than we had back at this point. So we could see some money coming into gold as we come into the summer months. All right, now let's take a look at the volume on the SPY. Well, huge volume as we had the big pullback on Friday. Remember, this doesn't make a trend because we're still in that uptrend, but nonetheless, certainly looking at a bit of a pullback here, which we've got support down here around 185, and I'm sorry, around 182.50. Yeah, let's see, that's 182.50, and 50-day moving average sit right at about that level. Looking at the financials, we expect that to pull back with the overall market. That's exactly what it did, as it pulled back to 22. Still sitting above that 30-day moving average, very much mimicking what we saw out of the Dow. And looking at oil, we see oil showing a bit of strength, and we see we've seen it occur at the pumps as that premium is well above $4 a gallon. Well above. Let's just say that it's above $4 a gallon. So with that thought in mind, that's the market as it took place during the last week. Basically went nowhere, did have a pop-up. Still certainly in an uptrend, but not showing the same kind of strength we showed all through 2013, as we're having difficulties moving higher, and we're seeing a topping action taking place on the overall market. For those of you that are gold members, stick around. We're going to take a look at our stocks to watch, see what happened to them, some of these front runners, some of these momentum stocks, see what happened as the market is beginning to show some weakness. And that, if you'd like to see some free videos, you can go to www.optionsuniversity.com/free gold. And with that thought in mind, to our gold members, stick around as we'll be covering some of our stocks to watch. So with that thought, this is Market Forecast brought to you by Options University. It's Monday, April 7th, 2014. We're looking at a topping action taking place in the market, and this is Butch Lorick. Thank you for being here.